Here we go. Hello. Welcome back to the FlurrySports podcast. Summer, the final episode. School is almost back in session. Summer is almost over. Football season is officially here. I got two. We can start with this, actually. Jake Osmond's here. I'm Zach Bruner.
Oh.
Back from Europe. We'll talk about it. Football season is more important. The joy I felt in my heart to watch college football was a little embarrassing. It just felt like I exhaled for the first time in 6 months. I'm like, the fact that there was Hawaii football, late night Hawaii football, and they were favored by 30. I'm like, oh my God, I am in like my Zen mode right now. This is exact. I need the Rainbow Warriors on Saturday night. It's so good. So exciting. The Ireland game was good, by the way. That's the first like American football game we've had in Ireland, and that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I'm here to say that now. Why are we going to Brazil?
That's such a good question.
Like, there's so many places we can go. What's the one place we want to go? Ireland.
Yeah.
We don't want to go to Brazil. Nobody wants to go to Brazil.
That's fair. I will say, if they're into the UFC, you like head trauma, you're going to love football.
I mean, that's true. But like, even when the Olympics were there, we had to like bust in water so we could drink something.
Well, this
isn't going to be good. It's not going to be good.
Honestly, hot take. Once we went to like England once, like
did it once, you've done it.
Here's what we've gone to Germany more than once. We're good. We don't need to like revisit Germany, do we?
So, I mean, no one needs to revisit Germany, in my opinion, for many reasons. But Germany did sing Country Roads, which is the best moment I think we've had in these international football games.
That's true.
Probably. Going to like multiple England stadiums, doing that makes no sense. We should be going to Ireland. Mm-hmm. We can go to Germany. Fine.
Canada.
For sure, Canada. In Australia. That's probably it. We're good. Maybe
I like
Japan's fun.
Yeah, I would put Japan and like Mexico City in the same category. One time's fun.
I'm still bummed out about Mexico City. A few reasons again, but like the NBA played there, and it was so polluted that they had to delay the game because there's a spontaneous combustion. It was so polluted in the air that it just set on fire. That probably means we don't need to go.
No, and that they were running when they did the Seahawks game last year, they ran into so many elevation issues.
They did. Yeah, Mexico. We can hop Mexico. We can go to like Jamaica. That's fine.
I thought you were going to say like, what do you mean? Like spring break? Like we go.
Pro Bowl could be there. That's fine.
Yeah,
how do you feel about jumping around here? FlurrySports Summer. We can do this. They're talking about, obviously they want to add that 20th week, which is going to happen. They're going to do that as they're going to negotiate a few things back and forth, but they want to add the Pro Bowl in the season now. That's one of the new rumored things. And they think it's going to help attendance, which I guess it probably has to, but they would use that as like one of the new extra bye weeks. What do you think about that?
Who wants the Pro Bowl? I was thinking about this.
I really don't know.
Because in all the other ones, like one of the two sides want it, either the fans or the players. Like
correct.
NBA, for a while it's gone back and forth, but the NBA players always love the NBA All-Star Weekend, even though fans are sometimes like, ugh, what is this for?
I think fans like the idea, like that it could be good, right?
That one is probably the most 50-50. Baseball, I would say that it's like 80-20. Like the fans love, like we've talked before, the home run derby is literally the most loved thing about baseball. They have to beg baseball players to do it and different things, but and that one's somewhat 50-50 because it's not super taxing to play a game of baseball. But like hockey,
I think has the best All-Star weekend.
Yeah,
I don't know. there's no shot. I'm not a hockey person. I love it. I like it. I'm not in that community.
Yeah.
I can't imagine hockey players want anything to do with it.
Correct. That would be the other one. I think it's on the other side. Football, it's like you hear like the players be like, we're not that into it. No one watches it. No one goes. So that one is the weirdest. And that was the point I was going to say about baseball. Baseball, the weird point, though, is it's also the one where baseball, it's kind of like, we don't want to go. But also, it's probably the biggest indicator if you're going to make the Hall of Fame or not, which is super weird.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, it has a huge legacy impact and like payroll implication. Like folks still use it in negotiations. Like I'm an all-star, which is weird for like a fan vote. Fan selected thing, but
football they do it too
100%. So there's some weird buy-in. Football though, so that's my only thing. Like it's like what I don't know what problem it's solving.
I don't know. I think there still is a part of the community, and I actually don't even know if I fall into it or not. Where it's like you look back on past Pro Bowl things and you realize how good it could be. I'm not even sure if I'm there anymore.
The only thing I feel that way about is old school skills challenges.
Correct. Skills challenges could and should be incredible. There's no reason they're not. There's no reason they're not.
No, and I hate that this worked, but the most I ever got into it is when they had like team captains.
Yeah, that's fine. But like, especially if it's in the middle of the season, that means it's for sure sticking with flag football, I'm assuming. But I assume there's going to be some sort of tie-in with the NFL runs right, but NFL runs all these flag football things anyways. So I assume they're really gonna do the one way. I haven't watched a single one of these flag football things because I can't fucking do it. However, if we want to tie it in to make Zach Bruner interested and make it a little timely with what's happening right now, bring in that flag football all-star team that says the NFL players
I knew
can't
that's
play.
where you were going. Yeah.
Yeah, bring in all of your best guys. Let's play. We'll see. Can Tyreek Hill run fast in flag football? They say no. I say maybe.
All right, before I make this joke, let me ask a question so I don't get it wrong. It's still you have like one blocker, right? And you're allowed to rush the passer?
Yeah, I think it's on a 3 count, maybe. Like you can't rush right away.
Gotcha. But then when you rush, there's a blocker. Cool. I don't even know. Let's not put a defense out there and see if you can throw a ball before Myles Garrett gets to you.
Yeah, sure.
Like
he could be 10 yards back. That's fine.
That's been the position on the most like you're so stupid. Like there's no way because no lineman goes to flag football anyway. So whatever their top lineman in was definitely some tight end,
right?
Who did that, and I'm like, yeah, go ahead. It's you versus TJ. Go get him. Like
they keep talking about how it's like NFL players are really going to struggle with grabbing the flags off, and I'm just going to let them know, no, we're not. It's good. Myles Garrett's going to be fine. Fucking bring in Aaron Donald. The dude trains with knives. Like I think he's going to have a decent hand-eye coordination to grab a flag. It's going to be okay.
And like, listen, they have to do this whole time while the rest of the NFL guys don't participate and don't care. So I get there's some frustration of like, they're not even curious if I'm going to make the team. And you know what? You're right. I don't. And here's the big one. The one that got me was the quarterback. Like, I'm like, shut up. Don't bring attention to yourself because maybe you would have snuck in. Wide receivers, they knew they were hosed. Because we were going to bring in, even if no NFL guy agreed, some college or recently retiree or
for sure
Terrell Owens.
Ocho Cinco.
Yeah.
He would for sure do it.
Was going to wipe him. This guy on the court, and he might still make it, but the quarterback guy who was making noise, he probably would have made the team. And now it's like, I feel like Sam Darnold's going to go out of his way to clown him. Like like
for sure.
100%. It's like, what the hell is Luke McCown doing coming out of retirement?
Like, why? And he called out Patrick Mahomes right away. And even Patrick Mahomes did the 50 Cent meme. Like, what did he say fuck me for? Why are we calling Mahomes out? I'm going to guess Mahomes can throw it better than you. And his whole thing was like, yeah, Mahomes is a better athlete. He's a better player. He can throw it better, but he doesn't know the rules. We got 4 years. And by the way, not hard rules. Throw touchdowns.
Especially for the quarterback.
Yeah. Throw the ball. That's all it is. That's it.
To your point, not only do we have 4 years, you got 4 downs. Even if he broke the rules up first down, he's got 3 more to figure it out.
So
silly. Dumb. Yeah, that was the silliest person to call out. I thought that was very, very dumb. To answer your first question, I would like if they started pitching this flag football game as like, this is our one chance a year to get ready for the Olympics. That would kind of get me to watch, I guess. Yeah. And maybe some guys would try. So
for sure.
I guess that's good. My real answer is I have a feeling, to your point, let's see how the negotiations play out and everything else. I have a feeling this is being thrown in instead of a second bye week.
That hasn't happened yet. I would assume that's a pretty good middle ground to settle on.
And I like that. I was in the camp that that a second bye week was smart and good and was never going to happen.
It's no matter what, that's 100% going to happen. They went to 18 weeks because of it, because it's like, we're going to go to 20. There's no way we're going to go to 19. That's stupid. We want to have 18 games. So they're going to go to 20. They're going to have the second bye. It's an easy way to settle back.
I was afraid they were going to add like another freaking, preseason game or something like that.
They hate preseason. I
know
there's a chance to go down to 2 with the next collective bargaining.
Yeah, they don't like it. Another one where it's like, who's championing it when like neither side wants to, that gets tough. Because again, I don't know if folks always understand that in like sports bargaining is like weirdly the group that doesn't have a voice is coaching. Because it's owners and players. So that shows its head in baseball sometimes where it's like all these rule changes and then the managers come out and like, I hate them, but that we were like the one group who did not get asked. And same with like, especially the preseason implications. But to that, I thought they were going to come up with some workaround. And if we do a mid-season Pro Bowl, if you tell me we have to keep the Pro Bowl, I guess, move it in the middle of the year. I'll be a little football crazy, so maybe I'll just turn it on because it's like not over yet. And
that first person to get hurt, though.
I mean,
it's going to be huge.
So true. But I guess the idea is they will hardly do anything. And like, if that's what we had to do to get some version of a second bye, but I'm with you on I know that there'll be dumb skill challenges, but it's even worse than when you get hurt. Pull a hammy doing the kicking contest.
I just feel like the people who run these all-star things, maybe minus hockey, they just don't understand what people want to see. It's like NBA. We just scored 200 points. Great. Like, that's not even entertaining at that point. With NFL now, they're like, if we move it to the middle of the year, we're going to get more of the big names there. Okay, but they're going to try even less.
I know.
Is that entertaining? It's going to be even worse.
And are you going to get more of the big names there? I don't know. I feel like the big names told you. It's like one of those things where it's like you're trying to be polite to a friend. Like we've all done that before where you're like, I would, but it's at the end of the season and I'm so tired, and there's nothing left. And they're like, oh, we got it. Middle of the year. Oh, I don't, I'm sick that day. You wouldn't believe it. So I don't know. I think it's the most, I mean, this is not a new take. It is the worst suited sport to an all-star game. And I guess the only saving grace is we have a reason now to care about flag football for 4 years. So maybe that'll be the tie-in. But I don't think that has anything to do with having it middle of the year. I'm a little perplexed on it, but also it's like, okay, move it there. But are players going to want a vacation more in the middle of the year? Like they get a bye week and they don't get to go home.
Right. And it's going to be, it's weird. It's going to be a mandatory bye. I still hate how they do normal buys. They're going to have to fix that because let's just assume it's a mandatory bye for everybody, middle of the year Pro Bowl, but it's not really going to be middle of the year. It's going to be like week let's call it 13.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be second half still. So that means that early bye, like we have like week 12 buys right now. Someone's going to have like bye 3 weeks bye. And that's weird too. Like
they're not going to do someone's not going to have 2 buys in a row, are they?
I wouldn't think so, but the schedule makers, I feel like, are drastically overpaid.
We don't talk about schedule making enough. I feel like for a little tangent, that is one of the funniest things in sports. Still, my favorite fun fact ever is that like a year ago, the couple that made the MLB schedules retired. And it was just insane. 2 old folks who made the schedule by hand, crafted with love every year.
It's every time, like with the NFL schedule, with all these schedules and stuff like that, it reminds me, it feels so familiar when freshman orientation for college, I had a natural disaster, so I couldn't meet with anybody. And I had to create my own schedule and I had to do all of that. Yeah. And I remember people were mind blown because I'm like, okay, so just put this class here, this class here, this class here, this class here. They're like, you figured that out? Like, yeah, I just looked at the times. And I feel like no one knows how to create a schedule for anything. It's really not that hard. You just plug it in where it fits.
This is really, this show is just nitpicks, I guess. But as long as we're talking about small things that get my goat, that is such a good point, Zach, because A, I have a funny college selection story I could tell in a second. But B, you know what has always irked me? Why can't we fucking figure out strength of schedule? It's always, we'll like check it and suddenly it'll be like, whoa, that's not fair. How does that happen? That's someone's job, isn't it? Like, it's always like we pull them out of a hat and it's like, oh, Green Bay gets to play Colfax High School 3 times. Like, what are we doing?
Let me bring up the Florida Gators football schedule this year. It is
college is atrocious.
It's one of the most hilarious schedules of all time because I think Florida could be pretty good and they're going to struggle to get 3 wins. Like, they have no shot. They have absolutely no shot. Okay, here we go. Florida's schedule. They start out with a ranked Miami game. Then they play Samford, thank God. Then they have a ranked Texas A&M. They go to Mississippi State. They got home against UCF, which isn't a gimme. Then they got Tennessee, Kentucky, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. Almost their entire schedule is ranked already.
Yeah.
They're fucked. They're done.
They're fucked. And like, listen, to that point, college, I can give a little bit of slack to because we'll see if this is really impacted by the 12-team playoff now. But for years, you like couldn't have 2 weekest schedule because you had to like earn your spot, and they're made like 2 years in advance.
Right.
For the most part. So that I have some sympathy for. NFL, like, why? Seriously, like, that is planned 1 year out every year. Besides divisional matchups, why is strength of schedule not even? You know what I'm saying? Like, on paper.
Yeah. They have it so for some reason it never, ever, ever works. Like, they have a cycle where it's like you're going to play, if you finish 3rd place in your division, you're going to play the 3rd place of this division and this division. But for whatever reason, it's always drastically outweighed. Like, it just doesn't, it never, ever, ever matches up. Ever. Yeah. Like, it's either you lost everybody and they all went to this team or vice versa.
But here's the part that cracks me up, and follow me on this, see if I'm catching anything, because to your point, it never works out. That part I totally understand. And maybe it's just the teams improve, and by the time they schedule different things. But if I'm thinking of it right, I do think I've stumbled on something that really makes me mad, which is I understand that, to your point, and I know you're going where I'm going too, but like to your point, and what I think most people are thinking, of course you make a schedule. Some teams improve, some teams don't go where they're supposed to. But what cracks me up is the idea that then someone comes in and looks at it on paper, which should be the part that's even. And goes, your strength of schedule, that's a B. You know what I'm saying? And I know that's also an arbitrary thing, but it's funny that it's like, that's the only part that should be even.
It should be. Yeah, like, it never, ever is.
100%, because I know drafts happen and different things, but we schedule pretty late, and then you look at the schedule, and it's like, wow, That is not fair. That's literally, shouldn't that be the goal? Isn't that literally the whole thing? That's the thing. It's like, it's not even as the season unfolds. It's like right away. It's like, oh, well, you got screwed. That's weird. Isn't that someone's job?
Well, that is 100% true. But the whole home and away thing too is never ever equal. It's like, oh, Green Bay, you're not going to play at home at all in the last month and a half. Weird how it worked out this way. Like, you're the reason it worked out this way. You made this. It's pretty easy to flip it.
Well, and that's the thing. All I want to be is like the people who come out from the NFL and rate strengths of schedules, or like do that. Can they collaborate with the schedule people? Because they come out and I know, because they're like Buffalo in Buffalo, that's tough. Cool. Can you not give us that and Detroit in Detroit? Like, we've got to do both. You don't have to give us both. That has always cracked me up with strength of schedule, because NFL talks about it like, man, someone should do something about that. It's you, isn't it?
Yeah.
You who's on that?
I feel like the way they do it is, I was trying to think of a way to do a segment this season. Okay.
Yeah.
We have these different themes every single time, and we've done rankings before, but this time, I think I want to do locked in rankings. So what I mean by that, this is how the NFL does their shit. I'm going to have you do a top 5. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you a player, whatever. Let's do top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Ready.
You have to lock in the player when I give it to you. You're going to say they're number 2, but you don't know who else is coming. I'm not saying
that. Okay.
You don't know the thing. Okay. So instead of that, let's do Thanksgiving foods. Okay.
I'm in. Okay. I'm with you.
Timely. It's August. My mind's in Thanksgiving. Okay. So top 5 Thanksgiving foods. Let's go cranberry sauce.
5.
Okay. Let's go sweet potatoes.
4 for me. Okay.
And then we'll go stuffing.
2.
Okay. Let's do apple pie.
3.
Okay. So you only have number 1 left, and this is where the NFL runs into their issues. And unfortunately, the number 1 dish is tuna casserole. You have to plug it in there. That's your favorite. And that's the NFL's like, oh shit. Like, we can't move it around now. Like, we're locked in.
That's so true. And that's so true. Okay. I like doing that a lot. Also, as a plug for what we're covering, Randy, by the way, maple bread, keep my flavors separate as we stream this live. So I don't know. I don't need maple bread in my life. I've got other things with maple on them.
Love maple. I don't know what maple bread is, but give it to me.
I know. But to that point, I also want to plug, I'm very excited about, you and I have already drafted our losing teams.
That's right.
We've got an assembly list of teams we think are not going to do well. And I'm excited to follow that week to week.
That is true.
So I'm excited for that. We've got a lot of fun NFL stuff, but no, it's silly. I'm almost like, I feel like what they should do is just like rate the good teams and then be like, you only get to play so many of them each year.
Why don't we just have the best teams pick your schedule one at a time? Let's do a snake draft. Pick your schedule.
Yeah.
It would come out even.
Or
that's like the easiest way for it to come out even.
Maybe I got to look into this a little bit more, but to my understanding, like, this doesn't happen a lot. Like, shouldn't the divisions at least be pretty comparable? Like, they play each other 8 times.
Yeah. It looks very different.
Yeah. And like, that's the part where it's like, they play the same teams almost exclusively. So it's like, what's going on there? No, I know. It's a little ridiculous. We've got other things to get into, Zach, but what direction you want to go? You brought up college football. Do you want to go there? You talked Europe to start the show. We're in the NFL pool. We could, we are like Jim Marshall in the 1960s. We could go either way.
That is true. Let's talk about something else, sports, before then we can just end the show with like Europe talk.
Great.
Because it was an eventful trip. So what's the one sports thing we should talk about, you think?
Zach, I don't know if you've heard this, but there were a couple NFL guys stuck in an elevator.
I did hear that. This is the plot of an M. Night Shyamalan movie that I enjoyed, by the way. Devil. Good one.
Oh, really? Oh, I did not know that was what that was about. Okay. Maybe I should watch that. I haven't thought about him in a long time. Europe does sound crazy, Randy. Thank you for that comment.
It is something.
So I stumbled on this article and looking before the show and like headlines we want to get into. Here's the real takeaway, Zach, and I'm prepping you now. For those who don't know, 10 or 12, that's how it was described. So not 11. That's literally what the article says, 10 or 12, according to Harbaugh. Chargers players got stuck in an elevator. They had to be let out in Dallas by local fire department. Everyone seems to be okay. The article is called Harbaugh Allows Herbert, Other Chargers Stuck in Elevator. And here's the takeaway, Zach. I don't think we've given enough credit to how happy we should be that Harbaugh's back. You've so called happy. It, but I mean, it's unbelievable because Zach, I have some quotes for you. Okay, so all there was, they were stuck in an elevator 2 hours. So before I get into the quote,
it's a long time.
That's what I want to know. Like, how much of an ordeal is this to you? Is this a big deal?
I had to go through. I went to tie it into our next segment. I went through quite a few sketchy elevators in Europe, and one paused for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and I thought I was gonna die. I'm like, it's over. Who am I gonna call? Like, I'm gonna have to use the elevator call thing to someone who doesn't speak English. I'm fucked. So the fact that they were in there for 2 hours, that's nightmarish. And those are big dudes. We're talking 12 NFL players.
Yeah, and or 10. And they're big dudes.
One or the other, yeah.
Yeah, they're big dudes. They were the rescue is detailed as they had to take the ceiling panel out and they had them crawl out into an adjacent elevator.
Interesting. Okay.
So they were like stuck. They couldn't get it moving at all. So that is a little harrowing. Also, the details of this article are so funny to me. Here's another one. This is a quote from the ESPN article. Fire officials said the elevator was stuck somewhere between the 3rd and 15th floors.
Who could tell? There's no way to tell.
There's no way. Or narrow it down anywhere further than that. So they lowered the other one down, just got him. Anyway, here's the quotes from Harbaugh. Okay, because I agree with you, this was a big deal. So maybe Harbaugh is making the appropriate amount of deal of this, but you will never guess, Zach, that Jim Harbaugh is so proud at the cut of his team's gym. Okay,
of course, yeah.
So here's the quote: "You get in those situations, and it's a test of wills." Harbaugh, I was proud of each of the guys and the 2 women. I didn't see that part. Okay. And the 2 women that were on and he was proud of them. They were on that elevator. That's a win. You feel good about yourself. You were challenged. It was a test of will, and you pull it down or pull it in. It's awesome. He's back, baby. The coach said he just missed being on the elevator and saw everyone as they emerged from the rescue effort. Yeah,
that's suspicious.
This goes into your theory, which is you listen to these quotes at home, folks, and tell me that you don't think Harbaugh had something to do with it because his next quote, and it was hot. As each person came off the elevator, sweating, and some had the shirt off. Justin Herbert, his hair was a little wet, but his shirt was completely dry. That was another thing that blew me away.
Yeah? Harbaugh said that?
Harbaugh said that. He further said, this is funny, he's now attributing quotes to other people, but all these quotes are coming from Harbaugh. Harbaugh said that Jerry Fouts and several players, including some rookies who were among the trapped, were impressed by Herbert's poise. So he's, everyone else was impressed, according to Harbaugh. Justin Herbert's a leader. He was a rock, kept everybody calm, and everybody kept their poise.
Harbaugh just manufactured an escape room for his team. He's like, let's drop them off in the desert and let's see how they get themselves out of this. This is classic coach. Just tried to figure out to see what his team is made of before his preseason game. Herbert's not going to play the preseason game. He's got to test him somehow.
I love that he got a little press conference out of this too.
For sure. I need to see this press conference because I've seen several Harbaugh press conferences so far. He's been very Harbaugh, but not excited to be there. He had to be so happy with this.
So happy. It was a test of wheels. You got to pull out or pull in.
It's cliche after cliche after cliche.
By the way, he ended, the final quote is, and of course, we can't end without, this is exact quote, we can't end without me thanking the local fire department. If they hadn't got here, who knows how many more hours they could have been trapped in there. Frankly, who knows how it could have ended. Okay, coach. That's the end of the article. That was the only part where I was
there were 12 people, 10 people left. Who could have been worse? 2 women, yeah. Jesus,
he's proud of them. He's calling. I love to talk about coach speak, to compliment someone, but to attribute the compliments to not him.
Correct.
Yeah. All the other people in the elevator, they said Justin Herbert's a rock. He's got a lot of poise.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow his shirt wasn't sweaty.
Right. Yeah. He was working hard, but he doesn't sweat because he's cool under pressure.
So it's football season. That's the kind of bullshit we going on right now. I love it.
Same here. That's the shit we need. I don't need every fucking. It's like we get political news coming through a fire hose right now. Don't need that. I need more of this stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Some of the political news cracks me up sometimes, but yeah,
it's agree. Funny, but I'm done with it. I need this stuff.
That's true. And I missed Harbaugh. I missed him a lot. He should have never been fired. One of our favorites, honestly, one of the more underrated Bury the Leads we ever did was all the Harbaugh stuff.
I actually don't remember.
The big one I think we landed on, I think his official nominee was that he kept like punking the general manager before it was lynched. Like, yeah. Like he kept like
that. They hated each other.
Yeah. Like he kept calling him to the front of the room and be like, hey, got anything to add? Without like telling him or anything.
That's right.
They held the dress code that he didn't let the GM know about, so he's the only one dressed different.
Harbaugh got fired because that general manager hated him, and then he hired Jim Tom Sula.
Yeah, we don't talk about that enough.
God, what a guy.
I know, what a time. Yeah, so that was just a reminder for me that, like, man, I don't know if we're excited enough that Harbaugh's back. I'm pumped.
I don't think so, but yeah, because I don't think the Chargers are going to be particularly great this year either, and that's good. We're going to get a lot of ups and downs with Harbaugh, his team, and all of that.
Who are we rooting for? You mentioned this the last time we chatted, but they're another contender. Who's your official nominee to be, at this point, the midseason Hard Knocks? Because they would be a good one.
Yeah,
I think last time you said Broncos, which is also a great pick.
Broncos is great. I don't know if they'd let the Chargers because it's first-year head coach. I don't know the rules.
Oh, that's a rule. That's a rule. Yeah.
But, I mean, Harbaugh would be incredible. Just because it's not going to be a great team.
That's interesting. Like first-year team.
I don't know if the rules apply to mid-season.
All right. Let's say for fun that he's not eligible. Who's your nominee? I think there's some fun ones.
Mm-hmm. Broncos are fun. Raiders could be great.
I really kind of want to go dumpster fire. Like they'll either be fine or they'll be really bad. Honestly, the team that came to mind is the team I put a curse on last time we talked. Give me inside the Vikings locker room as everyone's just like, we're fine. I promise. We're gonna be okay.
God, are the Vikings interesting? I don't know if they are.
I don't think they are right now, but I think halfway through the year they're going to be scrambling. I really think they're going to be awful.
What week will be the first week Ryan Tannehill starts for them? Because he is not on the team.
Yeah.
But it feels inevitable.
I would say 8.
And they're just picture a quarterback room of Sam Darnold, Ryan Tannehill, and JJ McCarthy. They are all the same person. None of them are great. They all are very pretentious, rich moms.
Yeah.
Just weird. And then fucking Kevin O'Connell's there too. He fits in. He might as well just be in the room.
He might put on it. He might suit up. No, I know. It's that one probably is more a me thing than anywhere else. But I do think that's going to be an interesting locker room that I'd like a peek into. I think the more obvious ones, I think Raiders are a great shout because Antonio Pierce will be fun to watch no matter what.
Devontae could be just begging to go.
Yes.
Again, people aren't talking about this. The one thing Devontae said this offseason is that he wants Aiden O'Connell to be the quarterback. And they're like, okay, no, but you're still here, by the way. You are our guy.
I think he's going to be begging to go. I think that's a good one. The other one that we really talked about last time that now I just can't stop thinking about is I think they might pick them because you'd have to force this team to do anything because they're very like, we just keep buttoned up and we're not gonna air dirty laundry. B, because of that, their head coach is going to be feisty the whole time they're there. And C, quarterback controversy out the wazoo. I think if you were ever going to go to Pittsburgh,
it'd be so good.
And they're going to be in the hunt. They're going to be around 500, of course. So at the very least, so to be there with Wilson and Fields halfway through seems fun. Like that'll be the time when one of the two thinks that they're about to, okay, now they're going to let me in because they've just been saving me.
And if that offense is bad again, just to look into TJ Watt in the defensive room, just be like, just trying to be positive, just fake positivity. Like offense is going to turn it around, even though it's year 8 of TJ Watt getting 30 sacks and then the offense doing absolutely nothing. That would be insane. Just the defense is wanting to murder Russell Wilson, essentially. That's going to be Steelers could be a disaster in the most beautiful way this year.
Well, I think they're going to pick someone who could go either way. And so I think that would be a fun one to right. I feel like that'll be my official nominee. I would love, that's a good pick. I would push them.
Have they only done it twice? They've done Colts, they've done Cardinals.
They've only done midseason twice. I also, to be honest, this is Colts the first
last year.
Cardinals was last year.
Cardinals wasn't because it was Cliff and JJ Watt retired.
Oh, you're right. Colts was last year. Okay, midseason.
Hard. Colts feels like forever ago. Yeah, that might have been last year.
Okay, I'll look that up.
Both teams have been bad. I'm trying to think. Yeah, a team that is going to be middle of the road, that they're going to have to do that. Either they push towards the playoff. They may take an above average team just because they want a fucking playoff team.
The 2023 version was Arizona.
Really?
I think they also did a normal Hard Knocks that Cliff Kingsbury was on. But all I know is the 2023 one was Arizona. Or was that just last year that JJ and Cliff were there? I can't remember.
No, they had Gannon there last year. I remember because we were watching normal Hard Knocks and then they advertised Cliff Kingsbury sitting in a windowless room.
You're right.
Like
okay.
He's in fucking jail. That's so weird. There's no way that was last year. There's no way.
I'm on it. I'm looking into it. Oh, frick me. 2 years ago. Last year, Dolphins.
You're right.
Yeah.
And they did make playoffs. Okay. I didn't watch it. I watched maybe one episode.
I'm also looking up, is there going to be, by the way, I type in, is there going to be into Google, the top autofill is a tornado today. So
that's a great search. That's actually a very good search.
The follow-up below that is, oh, this is funny. Okay, is there going to be a tornado today? Is there going to be a Frozen 3? Is there going to be a Dune 3? Is there going to be a Zombies 4? Is there going to be a Moana 2? Is there going to be a Descendants 4? Is there going to be a Descendants 5? Get your shit together, Descendants.
Yeah.
And is there going to be a Zootopia 2? That was worth a search. Okay, is there going to be a midseason Hard Knocks this year? That's what I want to know.
They got to.
Because they did the off-season one.
Right. I just think they're expanding. What do you think about Bills?
They'd be a great one. I'm a little less interested in them than I have been in years past, as we were previously talking about, but they know they'll be good.
Right. They'll be, yeah. They should be fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of team they want to pick. The other one I was thinking of, like, likelihood, because they'll pick a team that I feel like they're trying not to disturb, like they'll just be good. So I'm almost like, will they do like San Fran? Like
San Fran's interesting.
Got so many big personalities between Bosa and Kittle.
I can see them doing Houston.
Yes. You know what? I hope they save San Fran. I would love an off-season Hard Knocks where we get to see Lynch in action. I think would be
They have to miss the playoffs though, right? Or off season. You're right.
Off season.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. Especially with all the fucking drama they got every year.
Him intimidating people in back rooms, which I assume happens all the time.
Has to. Absolutely has to.
You think he just walks up to someone, he's like, do you know how fast I can go? If I come in horizontal, do you know how hard I can hit you?
I just throw my head everywhere. Highlights.
True. One time I made Mike Allstott bleed from his eyes. Yeah. Lynch is scary, dude. I think about that all the time. I'm like, people haven't watched his hit compilations, and I can tell.
Yeah. People forget. John Lynch was a guy.
Yeah, is he a Hall of Famer?
No, but I mean, he doesn't get as much respect as he deserves, and it's partially because of the safeties that were there at the same time. Like, he has to compete with Ed Reed, Polamalu.
He is Hall of Famer. 2021. Really? Well, because of I was wondering that he's part of that Tampa Bay Bucks team,
right?
But that's 2021 he donned the gold jacket.
Why do all of a sudden I feel like doesn't deserve it?
You talked yourself in and out. That's awesome. You're like, he's underrated, and you're like,
it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Good. You know what I mean?
No, he's great. He's great.
He is great.
You also can't tabulate safety stats.
No, he played completely different too.
Unless you're Ed Reed.
Right. He's very, very good. I liked him more thinking he wasn't a Hall of Famer, and he
should be.
Yeah.
So funny.
Because now we have to compare him to Polamalu and Ed Reed. It's like, okay, those two guys are definitely better. Dolphins.
That is so interesting. If I had to take a safety out of those three, I mean, I would take Ed Reed. But if I had to take a second one, I think I would take Lynch.
I'm not. Fuck that. I'm taking Polamalu. Are you kidding me?
He's great. I just think that maybe this is the better way to put it. What a dumb argument this is. They're literally all three Hall of Famers. Whether you think they should be or not, Zach, my take is that they're all good. Okay?
Okay.
But I would say that Polamalu's greatness was that he broke scheme all the time.
Okay, I did. Yeah.
Which is awesome. But it's like, if I was making a scheme, I would say that Ed Reed was always in scheme, but he could be out of scheme by the time the ball was in the air. It was like he just was in the right spot, but he could cover everywhere. Lynch in scheme and didn't matter. Run a crossing route on John Lynch. See what happens.
Yeah. Straight for the temple. However,
100%.
Polamalu run any route on the field whatsoever, and Polamalu is going to show up.
Yeah, I will say, Polamalu is so interesting because it's like, I will say that Polamalu gets remembered as making a lot more interceptions because of the random ones where it's like he's nowhere in camera shot and then he's under the ball. Yeah. Where it's like John Lynch
made run support guy.
The same amount of interceptions.
For sure, probably, I'm sure.
No, I'm looking that up. Okay. This will be my last Google search. John Lynch, career interceptions.
They're both better against the run than they were against the pass, for sure. They're both downhill guys. But Dick LeBeau's considered one of the best defensive coordinators of all time, and Polamalu didn't run a scheme one play.
No. Okay, I will say. Oh, okay. Both of their career interception totals much lower than I would have guessed.
Not high. You watch the Polamalu highlight film and you see every one of his interceptions.
Yeah. Okay. What would your guess be on numbers for the two? You can guess either one. Played? What?
Can you give me years played?
Okay.
Just total. I'm guessing Polamalu's around 12. He played a
long. It's higher than that. Let me give you the years played. He played 158 career games. I know that's not helpful, but that's the first thing I got.
Right.
11 years.
I said 12. Way more than that. 11. I'm going to go with he had 20 interceptions.
So he had 32.
32. Okay.
Lynch played
probably less, huh?
Lynch played more seasons.
Okay.
15.
Yeah, he split with Denver.
Yeah. And technically 14. He really didn't play his last year in New England. One more guy who didn't get a ring on the Randy Moss team, which is so funny to me. Yeah. So 14 years. Would you go more or less than the 32 for Polamalu?
Probably less. He didn't. I mean, he was not a pass coverage guy.
No, 26.
Yeah. But how many forced fumbles? Does it say that?
It doesn't here. I just saw that. He's got 9 fumble recoveries, which is a little lower than I would have thought. And then
he's not picking up the ball. He's looking for someone to hit.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking that up. Okay, as I do, compare that to Ed Reed. How many interceptions Ed Reed? It's obviously much more than 32.
I mean, I'll go with 55. It's not even close. There's no way.
64. Literally twice as many in the same number of years. By the way, yeah, so John Lynch forced 18 fumbles.
Okay. And
which is more
doesn't even count pass breakups, which is probably 3 per game.
And that's more than sacks he had. To put it in perspective, he had 16 sacks. So, yeah, just a crazy fumbles guy. But yeah, and Ed Reed, I think, is with Woodson of like up there for most interceptions all time. So it's obviously high.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 3 very different guys, but it just felt funny. It is so funny to think about, like, yeah, they just didn't intercept. It just like wasn't a different kind of safety, you know?
Yeah, very different. Very different. I mean, John Lynch on the Broncos team, he was just hitting some guy in the temple, and then Champ Bailey grabbed the interception. Like,
yeah,
he's not even going for that was the era where you're not playing the ball, you're playing the man. Very different game.
Yeah, you love Champ Bailey.
Love Champ Bailey. Silent kill. He's not a Hall of Famer, is he?
No.
God, that's not fair.
That is fair. That is fair. It's definitely fair. That's with zero research. I love Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey is an awesome corner who I think is I don't know how many people have ever been built to play football like John Lynch.
That's fine, but you can compare Champ Bailey and Darrelle Revis. I don't think it's that different.
By the way, I know this is not the point of the show. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I feel like here's what's so random about the sentence I'm about to say. I could have literally said it on any show we've ever done because it's just a random sports take. You know what we don't talk about enough? That 2002 Buccaneers defense. I just looked up. I was like, oh, let me see that roster. Fucking good. It's Lynch, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp up the gut. Have fun with your halfback dive. Let's see how that goes. If you get through, Barber's back there.
Yeah. Yeah. Warren Sapp is, by the way, coaching for Colorado now. Imagine sending your kid to school and Warren Sapp's looking after him. That's terrifying.
That film room has to be a menace.
It's terrible. Terrible.
How many slurs do you think?
Feel like we Prime and Warren Sapp and
yeah. I hope I want to make a reference that only Packer fans from the 2000s make. If we really wanted to bring all the Avengers together, I feel like they should reach out to Mark Tauscher.
That's true.
Right.
No one dislikes Mark Tauscher.
No. He looked the wrong way on one play. Warren Sapp never let him forget it.
No.
He did not. No. When Zach, we end this show. Speaking of getting excited about things, very excited. Tell us about Europe. So many things happened. And so many things we're hoping count towards tax eligibility.
Isn't that the sweet? Yeah, for sure. No need to bury the lead. So I got engaged in Europe.
Yes.
That was good. That was good stuff. Gotta say, plan A did not work. Plan B did not work. And as I told you, what I was hoping for, a little bit of chaos, a little bit of thinking on our feet.
That's right. That's what it's all about. Just like Harbaugh, you know, you're proud of how you came through the circumstances you were in.
I will say, so I got COVID on the way out.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say both you and now fiance Lindsay sick.
Lindsay basically got it on the way back from me, I think. But I got it and it hit me. So I took off Tuesday morning, landed in Vienna Wednesday morning. Saturday was the wedding. Saturday is when I started to get bad with COVID after the 495 plus days in a row. We can go back in a second, but for perspective, Saturday, very sick. Sunday got worse. Monday would have been the day I proposed, and we woke up rainy. They've been having storms in this really small market town in Austria for like a week, and the storms have gotten so bad that it damaged the railway of the train that was going to take us up the mountains. That's out.
God.
Plan B was we're going to drive a little bit, take a cable car to the top of the mountain. There's zero visibility up there because it's storming right now. So much fog and shit. So that didn't work. So that's out. So now I have COVID brain fog in a country that I don't understand the language, and I'm just trying to fucking figure it out. And I'm just sitting at breakfast, just like, what am I going to do? So like, what's going to happen? The brain fog, I've never had brain fog like this from like COVID. This may be the third or fourth time I've got it. Mm-hmm. But when you're trying to decipher German language in front of you, it was insane. Essentially what we do, it's a really small town, one of the coolest towns I've ever been to in my entire life. Picturesque, like little, if you think of a little tiny Austrian market town, this is what it is. So very excited that we're there. It was the best. It's St. Wolfgang for anyone who wants to look it up. We end up like walking down the streets or whatever, going into like different shops and stuff like that, picking up stuff for our family, blah, 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 blah. And then we get down to like this really, to the pier essentially on one side. Really, obviously this town's extremely old. We went to a bakery that was 500 years old. And that was weird to think about. That was hard to wrap my mind around. Because like, oh, that's really old. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Like way older than like our country. Yeah. We're talking about like before Hitler started to do, Hitler probably went and got gingerbread. And then he sent, that there's like, because there's a little work camp in that town too. So he was there probably. But we go down by the water or whatever. There's a group from some other country, they're not Austrians or whatever, taking pictures. And here's a move for people you can do. This is a very smart move, if I say so.
I like this. You were excited about this, by the way, going into the trip, which
this is a great move. It worked out perfectly. And Lindsay tried to shut it down. She did not want me to do it. She tried to put the kibosh on the proposal multiple times, and I fought through adversity. But you get your phone, be like, hey, can you take a picture, our picture or whatever? But you put your phone on video and you have it rolling already. So I went and handed it to the person. It was already on video and just said, hey, keep it on us. I'm going to surprise her. And then I went and proposed. And then there's a crowd there because we're in a market and the crowd continued to gather. So we got gasps. We got people cheering. It was like there was like 20 people or so. That I wasn't nervous about anything until I got down on the knee. And then I heard gasps from 20 people. I'm like, oh no. There wasn't supposed to be a crowd in my mind. Like, what are we doing now?
And I'd be like, is that the right sound to be making? Like, it's like, did my pants go? What's going on? Yeah.
That was the weird thing. It was just like, I can't look around. Like, I kind of wanted to do crowd work at that point.
Starts pumping the arms.
Yeah. So then, whole thing, all good. But yeah, then people started cheering, and that was weird. But it was good. Like the actual part, if you didn't know it was plan C, good execution.
Yeah.
Good execution, I would say. But Europe overall, let's just do that. America's so much better than Europe in almost every way. I would say food better in Europe and food less expensive. So it was way better and it was less expensive. Literally, I think our most expensive meal was at a McDonald's. I think everything else was cheaper. Like we went to like fancy Italian restaurants and stuff like that. That was still like $12 a plate, but McDonald's was expensive. And let me tell you about the McDonald's over there.
Oh, God.
This was the first one we went to, 2 stories. They have like the touch screens everywhere. And then in Austria, there's 2 counters. So you have the counter for your normal food, and then there's like a full real bakery in the other one. Actually, I might have a picture here of like one of the meals we got. It's kind of okay. Let me bring this up for the people watching on YouTube, which is everybody. Look at this. So look at this slice of cake. This is just at a McDonald's bakery.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It was like one of the croissant I had there, which would be this. That's better than any croissant you can get in America.
Okay, wait. That's not what is your argument? Is your argument that we're better? You're propping up their food right now.
No, I know. I'm saying their food is the only thing better.
Got it. Okay, I'm following.
Everything else in Europe, though, if we're talking about, whoops, I'm back. If we're talking about like driving, they have white lines to separate the road. They have the traffic lights on the wrong side of the road. They have like nothing's correct there. Air conditioning is non-existent. The water they drink it's mineral water, okay? So it's fizzy, but then it tastes like they soaked pennies in it and then they added a bunch of fucking salt. Like their water's literally salty. Not good.
Ugh.
It's not good. Like I don't like you. And by the way, this is a side note. People from fucking England, you could tell. Like just looking at them.
And I will say that I mean that's definitely what they said about you.
No.
You don't think so? They're like, he could be from Sweden.
Well, considering it was Austria, so like the word Brunner, the name Brunner was that
100%.
Luckily,
yeah.
Like there's like Castle Brunner. We went through that stuff, but people from
England,
like
this is mine,
basically back in the homeland. You know what I mean? It was one step away from Mongolia, which is also the homeland. But at the actual wedding, the groom had like cousins from England, and they all look and sound like Russell Brand.
Oh my God.
It was tough. And the 14-year-old, I think, ruined Shakira for me forever.
Really?
I think so. She was... Okay, let's do this. So there's 3.
I don't know. I'm like trying to like, do I let him go? I don't know what's about to happen. All right, go for it.
3 English kids all have the same fucking haircut. 2 have autism. All fucking weird. All sound like Russell Brand. All look like Russell Brand. They even have like the weird earrings like Russell Brand. And then this 14-year-old had like fucking, she's 6'2", and then she had like 5-inch heels on, and she danced too hard to Shakira. Too hard. She danced harder than Shakira, and it was good, and it ruined Shakira forever.
Oh, God.
Picture our younger cousin dancing on TikTok, Jake.
Which we just discovered for folks.
Just discovered. Picture the effort level up to 12.
Oh, no.
In a Slovakian wedding. It was just a surreal, odd experience. And I had to stop. I just had to stop. I was just like watching. Like, I don't.
That's terrible.
It was odd. I'll let you ask questions about anything. The other thing that did happen, though, day 1, we landed in Vienna. Okay. Bride and groom pick us up. Super nice. They drive us over to Bratislava in Slovakia, but then we can't get into the Airbnb yet. So they just drop us off at a random mall. Malls are hopping over there, which is cool to see. But then we would have to get on a tram to go to our Airbnb, okay?
Okay.
So we get our ticket. That was a process. We get on the tram, and within 60 seconds, like within a minute or two, some random guy gets onto the tram, looks directly at me and Lindsay, who we have our luggage. We're obviously outsiders, right? Comes directly to us, asks us to show us the ticket, and then starts like yelling at us. And then Lindsay's like apologizing. She's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We don't know we don't know what's wrong yet." He's like, "Well, not sorry for me. It's going to be sorry for you." And Lindsay's like, "What the fuck?" Somebody else on the tram spoke English, and they're like, "Oh, you're supposed to like stamp your ticket when you got on," which we didn't know. And the time is on the ticket when we got the ticket, and the time was 2 minutes ago. So then he forced us to get off the tram.
Oh God!
At like the next stop, and where he proceeded to write us up. We got ticket. Like we almost went to jail.
Really?
Right away. Yeah. So for a $2.
But how are you supposed to do that, right? Yeah.
Read the fucking. Just the whole point is so you can't just ride for free or just stay on the thing forever. Read the time on it. That's it. Just read the time. We paid for it. So I think the ticket costs like $1.50 or €150 or whatever. The ticket to ride. Mm-hmm. But the fine, we got fined like $100 each immediately.
Oh God.
And he didn't explain what we did wrong. He didn't explain anything. And then there's like one person just like at the bus station there who kind of like tried to help explain like, this is what happened. This is what you can do now. But right away, like we're almost getting arrested in fucking Slovakia immediately. Slovakia, much worse than Austria, for the record.
So maybe that could be the question I ask. Can you give us the countries you were in, and I'd like you to rank them?
Just those two. So
okay, well, quick list. Okay.
Yeah, Slovakia and Austria, Vienna and Bratislava are like the two world's closest capitals. So literally, it's like you land in Vienna, and it was a 30-minute drive, and we're in Bratislava, Slovakia. So they're essentially right there. But Slovakia speaks Slovak, Austria speaks German. People from Slovakia, we've been told. So the groom is from Slovakia, super cool dude. So he wouldn't mind me criticizing his country, I don't think. Since I think he does it plenty.
I think most of the scuttlebutt I've heard of Slovakia, I feel like that would be true.
People from Slovakia are extremely proud that the Soviet Union didn't take them over. They stopped, like they went up to the city and stopped. And I'm saying they are wannabe Russians there. That's all they are. They say they hate Russia with a passion. They're just wannabe Russians. Those people there fucking suck. I think, personally, to me.
That's your take.
I think, I think Slovakians fucking blow. I think the country sucks. I think everything about it's bad.
That is so funny.
Bratislava was okay. There's some cool stuff in the city, but not about it. They're not friendly and they do not care. It was a humbling experience, I thought.
And so, okay, the take I'm going to take that to my next question to give some background that I know Zach knows, but other folks don't know. The only international trip I've been on besides Canada is to East Asia. So we stopped in a few different countries, but one of them was like Seoul, South Korea, which I feel like people go to all the time. And then one was Laos. We were literally there just to get to the other ones we were going to. And when you are in a country that doesn't get, like, it's so funny because it's like you would think because you're one of few tourists, they're like nicer to you. And it was way more like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, do you know you're not in Thailand? And it's like, well, we do. We do actually know that. So was it that kind of vibe where they're like, why are you here?
I would say so. We were lucky enough. I would say the majority of the time we were with somebody who spoke Slovak, whether it be the groom or his wife from America does a tiny bit. So it helped a little bit. But like you could tell we like he brought us to a restaurant, like our group or whatever we're going to eat. And they did not want us there. They wanted nothing to do with us. But then he like talked to the waitress like in Slovak, and then it was cool.
Gotcha. Okay.
It was like you needed that intermediary, I feel like a little bit, for the most part. But like truthfully, like, and we also got essentially what would be an Uber from on the way back after the wedding from Slovakia all the way to the Vienna airport to pick up the rental car. And it ended up being like an hour-long Uber ride. That was like the scariest dude. Really? He's just like it felt like he's like 20 something, like a wannabe Russian mafia guy, like one of those people, just something off about him. And you're not wanting to like talk to him. Like you don't want to piss him off. That's what I felt like.
Which is fair.
Which is humbling for me.
Well, I was also going to say, like, it's like intimidating to anyone. And it's like, but you are also a bigger guy. And it's like, I don't want to be here. I'm scared. Yeah.
It's just like, truthfully, like it felt weird where it's like, I don't want to cause any confrontation. And usually I'll just be like, yeah, you can go fuck yourself. Or like, I'll do whatever I want. But it's a mixture of being in a place I don't know the language, don't know anything. And I'm fully at his mercy. Like he's driving me. I'm fully powerless at this point. And if he wants to just say, fuck you, like we're just going to go here. We're going to murder you. That's fine. Like he can do whatever he wants. We're Americans. It's going to be fine. Like they don't like us.
It's true. Yeah.
I can't even describe the difference between Austria and Slovakia to me. Like Austria, everyone was super nice. Everyone spoke at least a decent amount of English. Everyone was cool.
And I think, that's so interesting because I feel like in my head that makes sense because I would chalk up like,
yeah.
And all I could say is I'd want to go to Austria. It would never have occurred to me to go to Slovakia. Yeah. So, okay.
And they're right next to each other. Yeah.
To clarify, and I mean, I think I know, but for folks listening, so you did the engagement in Austria?
Austria. Yep.
Yeah. So, how do you feel like that reception would have been like in Slovakia? You turn around, group of people.
I would be afraid to go down on a knee to be that vulnerable in Slovakia, I think.
I think so too. Well, I was thinking that in general, like it's good to have a crowd just in case the knee locks up.
That is true. It felt, I felt very unwelcome in Slovakia. It wasn't even people necessarily being mean. It just felt like I shouldn't be here. Time to go home. Like there's no reason for me to be here. It's not necessarily interesting. It's not necessarily nice. And they know it. They get it.
And by the way, it feels like they don't want you there. And they'd be like, It's just like, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
Just the same way after watching Hard Knocks offseason, I was like, it feels like they never wanted Saquon. And the reason for that is because they did not.
Correct. The owner did. He liked the jersey sales. Yeah, I think everybody, to be fair as well, and maybe it's just my perception as well. Like I said, we landed, it was 95 plus Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We were pushing 100 degrees. Saturday's the wedding. It was still 91. This country was not equipped for heat. So I think everybody's pissed off about the heat. Everybody's hot. Everybody's irritated. I think that probably fed into it too. But it was a nightmare for a lot of stuff. And there were a couple nice people. Like at the wedding, we stayed like in this, I probably have a picture here. It's like an old family house. It's like a winery in a way. Does she have a picture of the inside here? Maybe I don't. But regardless, it's just like, what is it? Do I not have it? Okay, whatever. Oh no, yeah, I do. It's right here. It's like the woman who runs this old family house. It's a hotel essentially. Like this was the inside of our hotel / family house. This is just like an alleyway within it. So like it was super nice. The lady who ran that was super cool, super nice. And I felt like, to be honest, Slovakia was like half the people wanted to be Russian, half the people wanted to be Italian. That's my vibes. Either we want to be one or the other. At least for that part. I don't know. It was weird. Mob ties to both.
It will also mob ties to both.
It's also obviously a newer country because they were Czechoslovakia.
Correct. Well, I can't help but think about that when you're talking about like, that's so weird. I don't know if Americans can fully relate to that. Like all the countries there are so old that like their modern interpretations are like, it's like us trying to remember Pluto's not a planet.
Yeah.
Like, you sure? Because Slovakia has never not been part, like the last 15 years have been the only time they've never not been part of like a larger empire.
Right. And I feel like maybe that's why they joined the EU. Like they just kind of want to be part. They want to have independence, but they kind of don't. They don't want to be their own thing.
If the US ever went, full independent, it'd be the same thing. It's like someone's got to take Wyoming.
True. That is true.
That's always my favorite part. We should play that game sometime. I know the one time we did do a show of like if the states went against each other, who would win in a fist fight. But whenever there's like they did the Civil War movie, and it's always like it's Texas, it's California, it's the East Coast. No one ever talks about like who gets Idaho. Like it's like this, there's stuff where it's like there's also a fourth section that no one talks about it. It's just called the Four Corners. No one went there.
No, there's places. Yeah, the places you don't go in America, places you don't go in Europe, and unfortunately, I went to one of them. What was there? Was there for? It was fine. It was old. It was cool.
And you got engaged, which is,
Austria was great. Truly two different trips.
That's true. That is so fair. My last question to end on the Austria note is if we have some aspiring travelers, I'm sure, listening. You got to give a recommendation for someone to visit, especially since I know from talking to you before you went, you were planning on some scene spots that aren't necessarily tourist havens. Any recommendations for folks who happen to be in the Austria area?
I would definitely go
swinging by.
Yeah, if you're swinging by Austria, I would definitely go to St. Wolfgang. It is a tourist city, but also not. Like it's so small where it can't be packed. For people who want to visit tourist cities, they think of Vienna, obviously. They think of Salzburg. This is in the Salzburg region, so it's like maybe 30-40 minutes away from Salzburg. And then the other super touristy place in Austria, which is maybe, again, 15 minutes away, or maybe a little bit more, is Hallstatt. And everyone thinks like they want a picturesque, really tiny, small Austrian town. They go to Hallstatt, and St. Wolfgang looks almost identical. It's on a nicer lake, and Hallstatt supposedly is so crowded that you can't park anywhere. It's a disaster. St. Wolfgang is a super small town, and I would go there a million times over. And awesome. I didn't even get to do like the coolest thing, which was like the steepest, oldest cog railway up a mountain or whatever, which would have been awesome, but didn't get to do that. Even still, like the little, like the market and stuff like that. Very cool. I really liked it. I would definitely go there. Vienna was also kind of a nightmare, to be completely honest, and mostly because of construction. Like literally all sharing the exact same narrow road path was the train in town, cars, pedestrians, and bikes. And you have to navigate that. Like everyone has to drive in that exact same thing. Parking garages were closed.
Weird.
Everything was closed. It was a nightmare to navigate.
Yeah.
So a lot of people like Vienna. I did not for that reason. Also, by the way, if anyone tells you how scary the Autobahn is, that just means that person doesn't know how to drive. It was the least intimidating thing of all time. It's scarier to drive on our highways, I feel like. It was easy.
Gotcha.
I just feel like people make a huge deal about the Autobahn, and it's just not.
By the way, it's also the laws of Texas. That's always cracked me up. Like there's highways in Texas that do the same thing.
It's not even that bad. Like there's literally nothing to worry about. Like if you want to, if Hitler wants to hang his hat on one thing, it should be Autobahns because they're fucking easy and they're well designed.
I don't think and he had nothing to do with it. I think so.
Yeah, he did. He created.
Did he? Well, you're the Hitler expert.
I am. And honestly,
you researched him. Actually, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's true.
If I had to give Mein Kampf of the trip, it would probably be my true struggle was Mein Kampf, the Slovakian public transport. That was Mein Kampf. Maybe that's our theme for this season. We give our Mein Kampf every single episode. How does that sound? No other show's doing that, I think.
We might need to rebrand what that topic's called, but by the way, just happy scrappies. I do like that. If I tell you what, it did make me, the worst part is it brought something to mind. And I'm like, I do actually think Zach will find this funny, and it's very on brand for the show. It was a stressful week at work, and like not in a serious way, but in the way that I think people do from time to time. I was like, what other jobs are out there? I made this joke 3 times this week. I was like, farming wouldn't have been that bad. That's how it's a stressful time. But I was looking up, and higher ed does this thing where there's like all these Facebook posts. So I'm looking up. Finally, I see one that I'm like, oh, this is cool. Oh, all these perks with the role, the things you'd get to work on. I'm like, this is awesome. Big school. Where is it? Fucking Iowa. It's University of Iowa. And by the way, it's a sick job. I haven't like totally been like, I'm not like burning it on reading. I by the way, not job searching, but I was just like, oh, this is cool. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I have a reputation to uphold, but we'll see.
Speaking of Iowa, there was way too many cornfields in Austria and Slovakia.
That is
way too many.
Really?
It was just like, we're home. That bummed me out. Like, corn's not supposed to be here. It's not native here.
Yeah.
This is ours. You're welcome.
Well, I will say to that point, before I zoomed in on the first, because some of your engagement photos, it became very clear. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful. That's definitely like Europe. The first one that I caught, I'm like, is that Hayward? Like it was a little like in northern Wisconsin, and then you get in, you see white caps in the background and different things, and but
it was cool. I didn't get to. I was probably like overstressed, just trying to drive.
It's a lot to do
to see all of it. I will say though, I don't know if I could. I need to be in control. I'm pretty obvious, right? But like, I don't know if I could have done that trip without getting a rental car. Just like my psyche, like having to do public transport and just relying on others bugged the piss out of me.
Well, certainly not on the engagement trip, because to your point, and we talked about that. It would have been
hard to get there. Yeah,
100%. And in a fun, positive way. It's like one of those things where it's like you knew it was going to go good and you just wanted to go super well. So you sweat the little things and you do all that stuff. We talked about that too. But
yeah, it was a fun moment where it was truly like, okay, this plan's out the window and this plan's out the window. That was my favorite part. Where now it's like, now it doesn't matter where we are in the world. Now it's like, let's figure this out.
Because you know what you are. I finally figured it out. I was like, what's the analogy for that? You love a halftime scramble. You're like, all right, boys.
Sure. Oh, God,
they punched us in the teeth. We weren't expecting the corner blitz. Let's rework it.
People say halftime adjustments are over exaggerated. Not true. You can figure a lot out.
Do people think that? Because that's so true. That'd be the one thing. If you've never been in any level football locker room, you're a whole new team at halftime.
That's the new trend, because people thought halftime adjustments were everything. Like you talk through everything. you bounce ideas off of each other. And then lately, now with like Pat McAfee, the Kelseys, they're having the microphone to talk, and they're like, I go and eat an Uncrustable and piss, and then we come back out. Like there's nothing. And for some, there's nothing. But for like coaches and shit, there's no time to bounce ideas. There's one alpha in the room saying, what's going on? This is what we're doing. That's probably all you have time for. But
well, and if those bouncing around of ideas are happening at that level, it does not surprise me. It's not happening with the players.
No. It's like assistant coaches. What do you see? What should we try?
In high school, you have sometimes the fun, like, all right, what's happening? Why isn't this blocking scheme working? Oh, coach, he's so much bigger and faster than me. Seems to be the problem.
Or it's like they're drawing up stuff. Where's this guy lining up? And you just see the blank stare of the person next to you, like, I don't know. Like, I can't fucking find this guy. He's so good.
Well, sometimes that's the problem. That I do remember from high school. I'd be on the JV team and it'd be like, we'd be so bad. And they'd be like, all right, so this guy over here is sacking the quarterback every time. What seems to be the problem? What seems to be, coach, none of us are blocking him. It seems to be what's happening because all three of us, that happened one game, we were triple teaming a guy.
Yeah. Don't know where he's coming from, coach. He's slippery.
That corner keeps getting us.
Yeah, I cannot find. I don't have enough time at the line of scrimmage.
That was you in Austria making halftime adjustments in the game of love.
It was, and yeah, God, and I can't explain to you how sick I was. So if you see any engagement pictures of us, just know I am like eyes glazed over.
Oh, really? Because sincerely, one of the photos where you two are in the car driving back, I'm like, that's one of the best photos I've ever seen of Zach. You look great in it.
Oh yeah, very sick. Off of the worst night's sleep of my life because there was no pillows in the place. It was hard as shit. Oh, it was like it was like, yeah. Most of we've stayed at Airbnb, every place except for the place in St. Wolfgang, and that hotel sucked, and I couldn't breathe. So that was also fun too. COVID. What are you gonna do? COVID's real. This is the worst COVID I've had. It was not great. Have you ever flown with a sinus thing? I've never done that before.
Yeah, it's terrible. I did it on my way back from Korea, and it was like 23 hours of like hell.
Like the landing. So I had two planes. The international one was huge, obviously. That one coming down wasn't terrible, but my ears didn't pop the entire time. I was in the airport for 4 or 5 hours, ears plugged still. And then the tiny ass plane that was so small that we had to board it from the ground. Like you couldn't even that. I almost passed out when we were landing coming home because I was in so much pain. Like Lindsay was like very close to calling somebody. I was about dead.
I know.
It was not good.
I was getting a lot of looks from people I didn't know because I was like in the further part of our group. So and my thing was like I was doing a Rain Man head shake. Like I was like trying to like shake it out, and everyone was like, "Is he okay?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like trying to like keep it a little moving because it was just right in the it was like right at here in between my eyes.
My ear didn't pop till the next day. It felt I couldn't hear anything out of my ear. And my parents, like, I was picking up Moose, obviously, my dog. And I'm like, I can't even look at you. I can't talk to you. I just want to go home. Like, I'm sorry I'm being rude. Get away from me. I can't do this.
And that's what I heard was how sick you were. So I'm happy that sounds like you are able to rest a little bit afterwards, which is nice. But you better rest up because now, you've had your fun and now it's football season.
Tell me about it. This is the least informed I've been for a football season in so long. And I can't tell if that's fun or if that's terrible yet.
Oh, it's going to be a fun time. Georgia Tech won a football game.
Every team should hire a former offensive lineman as their head coach. That's what happens. He's my guy. The post game interview just be like, hell yeah, we're excited. We got to run the ball. I'm like, fuck yeah, coach. That's what I want to hear. But like, that's it. That's it. Of course, we want to run the ball at the end of the game.
3 yards in the cloud of dust.
Fuck yeah! Like that's all we're trying to do.
And maybe this is the best way to end the show because, like the show, this upcoming season, college football has a rare a mix of things. I don't know if I could put on anything else, which is it might be the most highly anticipated sporting event of the season, and it always sneaks up on people.
Yeah.
I've never seen that combination of like, there is so much hype around college football, and so many people were like, the game is tonight? Like, it's like they're playing already.
We need to get rid of the week 0 thing.
100%. We need to
get
rid of week 0. And I think it's like the best thing college basketball does. Like, all the ranked teams should play on the same day. Yeah. Like, let's go. We do one. Georgia Tech and Hawaii get to play that Thursday. Everybody else plays that Saturday.
Like, we can figure out, like, have it be a have it be like essentially a preseason game or whatever. I don't care, but we just can't have week 0. I don't get it. It's maybe it's just a dumb football brain trying to wrap our mind around it, but it's like, no, we start at week 1. Why we have week 0, and why is it a conference game? That makes no sense.
Yeah, I know, really, really weird. But just like that, Zach, we're back coming up. Regular,
just like that. Sports. Florida State's out of the playoff.
So true.
After start of the year, ranked 10th, they're done. They complained. Oh, really quick. How beautiful is that? All fucking offseason, they're like, we should have been in the playoffs. We should have been in the playoffs. We should have been in the playoffs. And you're out. Sorry. Okay. Well, better look next year.
Should have thought about Georgia Tech, shouldn't you?
Yeah. Maybe you should have been practicing instead of complaining.
By the way, the only thing that happens in college football is such a beautiful thing. And now what do they have to do? They have a chance, Zach. They are done, except for one scenario, which is, of course, rooting for Georgia Tech.
That's right.
It's my favorite thing in college football. I guess now we all have to cheer for this dinky-ass team because we lost to them when we had no right to.
Except their quarterback is DJ Ungalele or whatever. Yeah. And you know who his former head coach is?
No.
Dabo Swinney. In conference.
Wow.
Dabo's going to pull out some. He knows how to get in his head.
No, doesn't he know how to get in all of our heads? By the way.
We're not wrong. Okay. So next week, we are back to your normally scheduled program. We're back with audio podcasts. We're back with doing all that. We'll probably mix in some live streams as well. But for the most part, it'll be just live videos on the FlurrySports YouTube channel. Definitely subscribe there. Thank you very much for getting us past 16.2 thousand, the biggest milestone we've hit yet, 16.2. And then subscribe on iTunes, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. We're going to be back there as well. But yeah, let us know what you want us to do, by the way. Like little things you want to see and hear from us during the season. Jake's got some wrestling fantasy booking stuff on YouTube as well. Let us know if you want more wrestling content. You want more just random segments on there. I think I speak for Jake as well. Like, we're willing to try some stuff out. We're just having fun here, I think. Right?
We are. I like that. It's art. No, like a kid at a birthday party. We are having fun. So yeah, we appreciate it. There's daily trivia there that's been going good. So yes. If you like anything sports related, check out that YouTube page, because I think as we move back to our podcast feed, folks, they consume things the way they like to, and we appreciate you however you listen. But, if you have an appetite for something fun related to sports, let us know. We'll give it to you. So in the meantime, I told you about JJ McCarthy.